Hello there, that's me out on another wee walking wild camp, might as well. It's a bonny Saturday. I'm in the Galloway Forest Park again. It's one of my favourite spots. Going to visit some World War I relics, which quite surprising to find in these parts, but we'll have a look at that a bit closer in a wee bit. Absolutely beautiful day. You can see the loch behind me. That's Loch Doon in the Galloway Forest Park. So it's about 1:30, and it's not a long walk I've got today. It's maybe what, 3 miles tops. Pretty much on a nice forestry path most of the way. I think the last sort of 600 metres or something like that, it's going to be maybe battling through some felled plantation, forestry plantation, so that can be a bit tricky at times, so we'll see how we get on. I'll speak to you in a wee while and I'll leave you a wee view of the loch. So I treated myself to a pair of trail running shoes. I thought I'd try them for a bit of a change from the walking boots that I usually use when I'm out and about. Problem with the walking boots is, you know, although they'll keep your feet waterproof for a longer time, you know, some of the places we go, they do eventually end up getting wet, and the boots, when they get wet, they're super heavy and whatnot. So I've seen a few folk using the trail running shoes. Now your feet are going to get wet in them, but the bonus is they're about 4 times as light and they dry a lot quicker, whereas your boots, you know, can take an eternity to dry out. So you're just walking about with those heavy waterlogged boots. So I've got myself some Adidas Terex trainers. I'll show you them in a bit. They're made out of recycled plastic as well, so saving the planet one bit at a time. So we'll have a look back in a later video to see how they're standing up to the kicking that they get out and about. Getting there, just got to head in between those sort of 2 hills that you see in the distance, but closer at the shore of the loch. Onwards we go. Peace and serenity of Galloway Forest Park. Twat. not too long to go now before I come off the forestry track and head down towards the shore of the loch. I'm hoping there's a good water source before I get down to the loch. Obviously there's plenty of water there, but fresh running water off the hill is always better. I've passed a few good wee streams. I was thinking about filling up my wee mini well water pouch, but it's an extra 3 kilos, so I don't really want to be hoying that about for too long. So fingers crossed there's a decent water source before I peel down. But we'll have a wee look. Yes, this is where we cut off from the track and we head down towards the shore. Probably start getting a bit rougher here. This is a failed plantation. There's some tracks left by the forestry machinery, so it might be a bit easier, but a bit easier than I thought, but we shall see. Anyway, better watch my footing. I think I'll follow that wall. I don't know if you can make it out. I'll follow that wall down to Portmark. Yes, I think what I'm going to do is follow this this wall. It should bring me, according to the map, right the way down to the farm that I'm aiming for. Well, the remains of the farm. It's probably going to be Tick City, Tennessee, this, but thankfully they don't seem to like me that much. I'm sure they're not alone there. Anyway, I'll follow this wall and see where it takes me. We'll be testing out the theory of these shoes drying out a wee bit more quickly than boots, because it is H of a boggy, feet are a wee bit wet. Shouldn't be too far now though. Bracken everywhere. Like tripwires. Oh, not far to go. And just out of the bracken there, to the right of the screen, you can see the first view of one of the World War I installations. That's actually a powerhouse for pulling cables, but we'll have a look at that in a wee while. And just down there, I don't know if you can see the gable end of the house, but I'll battle through the rest of this bracken and get down to where I'm aiming for. Well, as you can hear, my worries about wee water supply close to where I'm camping. Needn't have worried. I could easily have fallen into it. Nice fast running burn there, not too far from where I'm going.
Off to Bologna, by the look of things, that could be announced within the next day or two.
Well, that's the water collected. One job out the way. Happy with that. Not the best time of year really to be showing you these old buildings and that. Everything's just so overgrown. The vegetation's just gone absolutely mental. This is the gable end of the old farmhouse. And there's the wall that I followed in from the forestry track. And there's that wheelhouse, World War I era. Well, there's the setup. As you can see, I've had to trample down a fair bit of grass. It's quite long. In the Bobcat today with DD Magic Carpet tarp providing, well, it's an umbrella today. Usually be to protect the porch from the rain, so no, it's absolutely roasting. So yeah, I've just supported it there with 2 walking poles, front and back, gone like with a diamond formation with the mini tarp. That's given me enough cover. Right, let's have a wee look at some of these World War I buildings, or relics of buildings that are left. This is essentially a wheelhouse. Now there would have been engines in there which would have pulled bogies along the track. You can't quite make it out there, but you can see it a little bit more as you walk down. Would have pulled bogies along for aircraft to aim at, moving targets essentially. So let's have a wee look inside the wheelhouse. It's quite surprising just how big it is in here. So you can see there's plenty of room for the machines that would have been in here. Obviously it's not been used for a very, very long time. That'd be a handy place to shelter if the weather was shocking. But yeah, you can see the size of the spot, pretty damn big. And there below, you won't be able to tell because I'm shooting into the sun, is the sort of farm area. So you might be able to see the line going down there, this raised bit I'm walking along. It's this is essentially the narrow gauge track that the bogies would have been pulled along. Again, the vegetation's very high, so you can't make out a great deal, but it gives you an idea. I think this stretches about 2.5 kilometres along from here, along the shore of the loch, to the terminus up at Craigiencallan. And obviously it was designed so that planes could fly in and try and bomb moving targets. I don't know if you can make out the tent up there, pretty well camouflaged, all good. And there's that pump house, not pump house, wheelhouse. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can head down to one of the lines that are nearer the loch. Now under this rowan tree is the cat stone. It's marked on Ordnance Survey maps. Not too sure why it's called the cat stone. It doesn't look particularly like a cat. Don't know if legend has it that a cat chucked it here at some point, but essentially it's an erratic boulder left here by a big moving lump of ice sometime in the past. Anyway, that was a wee detour. I keep going down, see if I can find this line. Actually turning into a bit of a mission, this, trying to find this bit of track. Everything's so overgrown. It's quite difficult to actually make anything out. Very tricky, high bracken and these bloody blaeberries just trip you up. You can't really spot anything at a distance either because it's so green. Eventually spotted it. You can just make it out in the centre of the screen there. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I'll head down and have a closer look. Oh, big rock. So yeah, things I do for these videos. Anyway, should be seeing it coming into view now. So there we have it, after a bit of a slog through blaeberries and bracken and rocks and tussocky grass, probably full to the brim of ticks, just to have a wee look at that. It's actually pretty impressive, to be fair, the fact that it's still here. The bombing school, or the flying school that was designed by the War Office back in the First World War, during the First World War, I think it was round about 1917. They spent, I think, £3 million, which is the equivalent of, you know, 100 million today, on this bombing school. Essentially they built moving targets so that aircraft could fly along the loch and try and shoot at said moving targets. But they spent all that money and it was a bit of a scandal because it wasn't thought out. The land's too boggy. The weather in this particular valley, Doon Valley, is not correct for the type of aircraft that they were flying in them days. So it was a big, you know, 100 million pound in today's money, waste of money, you know. But it's quite fascinating that it's still here. Anyway, I'll crack on.
about your ragtime band. Talk about your leader man. There's only one that I'll take my hat off to, and he's a colored man who leads the band in Chattanooga. Ragtime Rufus is his name. Syncopation is his game. He puts a swing in everything that would make a mummy sing. He never plays a ragtime melody, not he. He just keeps ragging classical music, you see. Now there is one tune he rags best of all. The name of it I can't recall, but I think he said it was the humor and the melody.
Never actually been. So glad to see my tent. That was hard going walking down there. I had to do it, but was it worth it? I don't know. You live and learn. But this bracken and just the long grass and vegetation is really taking out of my legs. As bad as the snow. Anyway, see if I find my way back up to that tent and then get a beer. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, that's a bit different. Hazelnut beer. Oh, that was hard going, that. Probably, let's say, I don't know, 500, 700 metres or something like that at the most. Been the hardest bit. Harder than walking the whole, you know, three and a bit miles round the bottom of the loch, but yeah, well, hard going. Anyway, just shows how unfit I am. Still a lot of work to do. Right, anyway, let's get some dinner on. Right, well, just as I was about to get my dinner on, the midges descended. It's the first time I've had the midgie net on in Anger this season, so superb not. Anyway, the wind's actually picking up a wee bit, so fingers crossed it picks up a wee bit more and chases the wee blighters away. Anyway, I'm starting to get hungry now, so nothing for it but get cooking. Good morning. Well, that's me more or less packed away. Just got to take the tent down. Just got a coffee on the go, so I'll scoop that and then make my way back up the hill to the forestry track. Not a lot of filming last night. I'm afraid the midges beat me. Although I did take my midgie net, I didn't take any midgie cream, so they were biting my hands and whatnot. So it was a bit tricky to do filming without going absolutely bonkers, scratching and whatnot. So yeah, I'll catch up with you when I'm heading up the hill. And there we are, there's Portmark. Another camp done and dusted. As always, left it as I found it, apart from maybe a wee bit of trampled grass. And I may be taking away a few ticks, but yeah, time to head home. Pretty tough terrain to walk on this. It's slow going, just these felled trees and the sort of remnants left by the forestry machinery sort of leaves a thick carpet of stuff that's easy to fall into or trip over or whatever. Just don't suppose it's designed to walk through, but sometimes you've got to get to where you want to go. Anyway, let's keep going. I've had Sunday walk, just coming out through this old farmstead here. You can see some remnants of what was there. Nice old chunk of wood, iron hinge. Anyway, just got to get up to where you can see those pile of logs up on the hill. Ah, made it. Oh, bloody hell. That's me just having a wee sit down. So glad I made it up onto the forestry road. Hard going through that stuff. Good fun, but you know, you soon get sick of it. Not far to go now. Like I say, didn't do a great deal of filming last night with regards to the World War I sort of bombing, moving target range, bombing school. The terrain was just too hassly. The bracken was, you know, up 5-6 feet high in some places and really thick, and lots of low branches and stuff to trip over, so it wasn't like I could easily move about, you know. Wasn't so mobile, but at least we've seen it, you know, ticked that off. So about 3 miles back to the car now, so it shouldn't take too long. Oh, that's so good. Whew. Well, I suppose I'll give you an update on the old shoe chat that we started earlier on. God, this channel's riveting, isn't it? Anyway, so far very impressed. These Terex shoes, fair, shed the water, zero squelch effect. They got absolutely drenched in sort of like mossy sphagnum, mossy bogs and long wet grass and whatnot, so they've been given a thorough soaking. And like I say, they've shed the water really well. They're not heavy. The only thing to check now is whether or not they hold together. Let's hope they don't disintegrate. Anyway, we'll see. Well, that's me about 5-10 minutes off the car now, so I'll probably leave this one here. It's been a good wee camp, good trip. It's kind of reminded me that you can't always rely on your terrain being exactly what you're wanting it to be, so you should be prepared for all types of stuff. But anyway, like I said, I'll leave it here. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon. Cheerio.